in your life like an awful broadcast with horrible graphics that has cornball announcers. This is the Educated Ignorance Podcast here on the For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network. Unlike Richard Jefferson and Doris Burke, we're not going to try to euphemism our way to success, and we're not going to try to talk about Riz and Skibbity Bops and Yats and all that jazz here tonight. We're actually going to try to talk basketball and not try to go viral. Game 2 of the NBA Finals was this evening, and the Thunder even the series. A little bit different lighting here tonight. Don't know if I like it, but I'm lazy and I'm tired and I've cooked all day and I'm ready to go to bed. Here we are. It was want to thank everyone hanging out. Like the video, please. We really appreciate it. Tell a friend, tell all your friends if you feel inclined to do so. If not, Krampus is going to come crawling into your kitchen this holiday season. Other housekeeping notes that I can think of off the top of my head. I want to give a shout out to the guys from Card Subject to Change. We were on their show last night during the old TKO trifecta. Talk some wrestling and watch the fights out there. It was a great time. Had a blast. It was awesome. Love hanging out with those guys. And can't wait to, I always enjoy being out there with them. And yeah, man, that was fun. So to be able to do that again and to be on their show is great. So go make sure you check them out. Those guys are doing a killer job. Also, go check out our good friends over at Gotham Gambling, Danny Hancock and the boys there. They get it done with some fantastic content. They put out shows, baseball, some gambling shows every week. So make sure you guys go hang out with them. I think they're streaming tomorrow night, so make sure you guys tune into that. All right. Now that is out of the way, thank you for hanging out with us here tonight as well. Click like I said, if you like the video, would really appreciate it. Click subscribe if you really like it. Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Was it anything different than I expected? A little bit. I thought the game was a lot. Oddly enough, I thought initially the game was closer than I had originally imagined it would be. I thought Oklahoma City was going to pretty much run away from the start. Indiana played pretty well for about 8 or 9 minutes. And then Oklahoma City went on a pretty crazy run to end the first half. There was at one point they scored like 30 of 35 points or something like that. It was pretty nuts. I mean, it was 20-17, and then it was 46-26 or something like that. So pretty crazy stretch there by the Thunder. There's a couple things that I thought that Indiana did well. I thought early on, I thought the Thunder were very tight. I thought the Pacers were loose. Unfortunately, though, the Pacers weren't able to do enough to put Oklahoma City in a hole. And once Oklahoma City got comfortable, then all of a sudden things started getting loose for them. I thought Chet Holmgren had a really good bounce-back game. I thought his aggressiveness in the first half really was key, and it allowed them to build a lead. I thought he was great in that run that they had. I thought Jalen Williams had a couple decent moments. I still don't love what they're getting from him on a night-to-night basis right now, but he's finding ways to score. He had 19 points tonight. He was able to get to the line a lot, so that was obviously good for them. But I thought his two-way game was really good, and to be able to score the way he did in the first half was important. And then obviously, the biggest thing is you're able to get 38 combined off the bench from Wiggins and Caruso, combined 12 of 22 from those guys, 9 of 16 from 3. I'm not saying that's the difference in the game, but I'm saying that's a pretty sizable thing. So like I believe the question now is like, okay, is this a series that is 2001 finals reincarnated, or is this a series that actually is going to go back and forth? The one thing that really disappointed me from Indiana tonight, I think we were able to I think certain guys that Carlisle is playing just does not give them sufficient minutes Um, I think I didn't like how Carlisle attacked tonight. I thought Halliburton sat way too long in the first quarter and the second quarter. Um, he came out at one point. I think he came out near the end of the first quarter. He didn't come back in until it was like a 16-point game in the second. It was like, come on, dude, he's got to come back in. And he also wasn't aggressive enough until the fourth quarter. I want to see him come out in the third, in game 3 on Wednesday. I want to see him come out and have aggression. I want to see him come out and play with a chip on his shoulder, have some fire in him. Uh, he's going to get roasted on the television shows for the next 2 days. Unfortunate. I mean, but I mean, he also has, it's going to be warranted in a sense because he was pretty bad tonight in the first half. He didn't really do anything. And by the time he really got going, the game was out of hand. It's what made tonight's game kind of so boring was that the game just stayed at the entire second half was like trading baskets. Indiana outscored them by 2 in the second half. Like it was pretty much a 20-point game the entire second half. Indiana got it to 14 or 16, I think, at one point, and then Thunder called a timeout, and then it just got back up to like 21. But the game never got ahead. The largest lead, I think, was like 22, 23 it shows here. I thought the Thunder did way better on the glass tonight, and that's case in point by the fact that they won the rebounding battle 43 to 35. In game 1, it was like 56 to 39 or something like that, and they favored Indiana. That was a massive difference. 3-point shooting, Indiana had some misses in that first quarter specifically, where they had some runouts. Thomas Bryant had a pretty bad stretch there to end the first quarter. I thought he had a couple bad misses, couple bad moments on defense. And, there were just times where they kind of just throw shots up at the rim. And I don't really like that, but I understand, they have to get 3-pointers off in this series. They have to find ways to create variance. And unfortunately, tonight, they just weren't able to hit their jump shots. For Oklahoma City, I thought Shea was brilliant, but I think he's pretty much always brilliant. I think it's okay to go out of your way to, ooh and ah over the fact that he was awesome once again. 34 points, way more efficient than he was in game 1. People were really not liking the game he played in game 1. I understand it to some degree, but I didn't really mind it. I thought that with how some other guys were going, I thought he was more than okay to. Sometimes in those games, you have to be willing to sacrifice the fact that you're going to shoot poorly to win games in the playoffs. And I think a perfect example of that is Kawhi Leonard, Game 7 against the Sixers when he was on Toronto. I mean, he shot like 41 times, but he had 40 points, and they won at the buzzer. Like sometimes you just have to you have to have a bad shooting night to try to get your numbers because you have to be the one that's creating the opportunities. I didn't think there were enough guys doing that in game 1 for Oklahoma City. Tonight, he was making better plays also. And I thought Indiana early did a good job of trying to take the paint away. And Shea was spraying it out. And the Thunder were hitting shots. Like we said, Caruso and Wiggins being able to hit those shots were impressive. The question is going to be in game 3 and 4, who of the role players for Oklahoma City are going to be able to step up? I hate saying that, but like who are the guys that are going to be able to be consistent? I think Caruso and Wiggins have been really good all playoffs. I've loved what they've gotten from those two as well as Case and Wallace in the entire postseason. I think there were stretches, especially in the Denver series, where those 3 guys should have been playing instead of, say, one of the bigs. I think those 3 guys should have been playing like next to Shea and one of the big guys. At stretches, especially in that Denver series, they were able to get through it regardless in certain spots. Now, granted, they did play them in certain spots, but others I was kind of upset, like, why are you doing this instead of this? But I think those 3 guys are incredible guys to have to be able to swing these games. And tonight they were able to get that. From Caruso and Wiggins. I think here's the thing for the Pacers. I think that the biggest thing is they got to get Halliburton back he's got to be back to a getting going, getting downhill, looking to score. Tonight was just one of those games where he wasn't. Sometimes, unfortunately for him, that he just hasn't had those moments, or he just hasn't had games where he has had games where he just kind of loses it. Uh, Game 5 against the Knicks is the biggest example of that, where he was just incredibly, uh, um, he was just incredibly out to lunch. Tonight was one of those nights as well. I thought he was pretty rough through the first few quarters. Not a whole lot to go on other than tonight. It was a bit of a boring game. I thought the start of the game was very fun, very energetic. I thought that we were going to get a back and forth game because I thought the Pacers were definitely the more comfortable team. I thought Oklahoma City was a way too sped up. I thought they were way too sporadic. And then all of a sudden, once they're able to kind of just cinch in for a moment, man, their punch, it's better than, I mean, anybody else's really. And that's the thing right now we've seen with the finals the last few years is these matchups where one team's best gear kind of just outguns another team when they're not in sync. Now, I don't really think we've seen the Pacers full bore yet. I think we saw Indiana kind of really get going in the fourth quarter in game one. And I thought we saw Indiana about 6 minutes of them at a good level tonight. At home, are they going to be able to kind of flip a switch here and get going to a point where they can really kind of, because I do believe that it's like there's a weird dichotomy here because it's like, okay, well, if this is truly just one way traffic, you know, or then why is it Oklahoma City just absolutely ragdolling them? Now, I mean, 20 points, it's hard to win by. You're not just going to win by 40, but I think I think Oklahoma City having answers to stop runs, I think that was important tonight and will go a bit overlooked because I think, there are little moments where Indiana would have those shots. Like, all right, well, they're still within 15. And then Oklahoma City would just hit two baskets in a row, get a stop, get a transition basket. Their defense, again, was forcing Indiana, especially in the second quarter. They just made them play even at a pace that they didn't want to play at. They were turning their wick up. That's the spot for me that I have gathered. That is, and this has been the case the entire playoffs. But Oklahoma City's defense, it is the archduke. It is the benefactor over anything. It is the best. It is the best trump card anyone has had in the postseason. It's that their defense has been better than anything else that anybody else has. Game 3 should be interesting because I do believe there's going to be a massive punch from Indiana, and I think Halliburton's going to be awesome. And I think if Oklahoma City, the thing I want to see is Indiana win Game 3, and then we have to see Oklahoma City answer the bell in Game 4 because I think that would be legendary. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in Game 3. Hopefully, we can get more back and forth for a full 48 minutes in one of these next two games. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm ready for. All in all, so far through two games, game one was electric. Tonight had some moments, but good performance by the Thunder, bounce back. But mostly what we kind of expected, I believe, was for them to have some. They were ready. We knew that they were going to come out ready to rock, and it was. I expected this. The thing for Indiana is that maybe a bit of a silver lining. I expected this to be more like game 2 of the Denver series. Now, maybe in that series for Denver, maybe they just kind of waved the white flag once they got down a certain point and were like, all right, guys, we're done here. And they were much worse than this Pacers team at their worst because it's just they were paper thin. At their best, obviously, they almost beat the freaking Thunder. They could have beat them. Maybe they should have. I don't know, but yeah, it's that that's a silver lining, I guess, for Indiana. I thought this was going to be way worse than it was. But in the entire second half, it was just trading baskets in a 20-point game. So that was a bit monotonous. Other than that, fun night again. Basketball is lovely. We will see you guys on Wednesday night after Game 3. I don't really have much tonight. Just the energy is not there today, and the game didn't have much to write home about. So we'll see what happens in Game 3. I expect it to be very tight and competitive. I expect it to be outside of the final 5 or 6 minutes of Game 1. I expect it to be the best overall game of the series to date. So can't wait for it. We'll see you guys Wednesday night. This has been the Educated Ignorance Podcast. If you ain't got the games, you best pass the sticks. We'll